As editor-in-chief of Package Design magazine, I speak with some of the most brilliant thought leaders in the design, branding, and marketing of consumer packaged goods. Through the generous support of our sponsors, we bring these experiences to you. This video series explores what inspires these thought leaders and their insights on the collaborative design process as a strategic business competence. I'm Linda Casey, and this is Package Design Matters. In a perfect world, what resources and tools would you want to be able to better market your brand?
Right now, we are not allowed to advertise. That's a big hindrance. We can do social media, we can do some guerrilla marketing, we can do trade shows, certain trade shows, but general national advertising is not allowed. Not only in print, but in TV commercials. That I would love to see changed. I would love to be able to speak to a much wider platform than I currently can to talk about our products. You rely a lot on the packaging. You rely on a lot of people to come into the store to recognize something that they haven't seen before in a package that represents this day and age, and go, you know what, I'm willing to try it. It looks like something that I might like. And so in that regards, this is why packaging is so important to us. We're very, very constrained on how we get our message out to the general public. It really is coming into the dispensaries and having people find us as opposed to us finding them.
And that's why the logo lockup was so important to you?
Yeah. The whole package is so important to us. We really, you have such a quick moment of time to grab a consumer's attention span. And we needed to do that with our flower coffee bean. Cannabis, the other word for cannabis is a flower. When you're buying flower, i.e. cannabis, we thought, how do we integrate that with coffee? And so we took our logo and turned it into a flower, but it's also a coffee bean at the same time. We hope that that gets across real quickly to the consumer in our packaging and in the logos.
And when I saw the logo, I immediately thought flavor profile because of the fact that you do have the coffee bean as part of the actual icon.
Right. That was very, very important. It kind of tells the whole story instantly as what it is inside there. We looked at, Tide, for instance, and their bullseye logo, and we really, really wanted the consumer to see this bullseye as well, real quickly, and understand that, wow, I get it. It's coffee, it's cannabis, I'm in a pot shop. So we worked extremely hard to develop that logo and get it out there and make it what it is.
So was that part of your original creative brief?
Totally. When we said let's get involved, we understood that we had limitations on how to market this and how to get sales. And so when our market brief was, let's do something that people are going to quickly understand and hopefully gravitate towards, we think we've accomplished that.
The consumer world was once static. We then came to understand the role of a brand. In turn, the world has changed. With the foundation of observations, insights, strategy, collaboration, and extraordinary ideas, design serves as the conduit for a brand. Without design, what purposes do these efforts serve?
Yeah, so one of the things I'm not is a graphic artist. I'm very limited on even drawing a straight line. That said, when I went out looking for some people to work with to help design the boxes, the packaging, I wanted to be able to talk over their shoulder, if you will. And the majority of graphic artists don't want people to talk over their shoulder and give ideas to. We're very limited to. So I found a couple of people that allowed me to take what I'm thinking and express it to them and work with them in a collaboration as a team to come up with packaging, to come up with the design work. It was a privilege, it is a privilege to work with these guys. And again, I'm very, very lucky to have them in our corporation.
And even though you're a co-founder, you're a member of the C-suite of your company, you are taking the opportunity, taking their expertise, and you're bringing them into the strategic conversation, because you didn't necessarily create a creative brief and then told them execute this strategy. They were there with you, kind of testing out ideas.
Yeah, it's an unusual way to bring a brand to market, but you have to trust your gut instincts, and you have to trust their instincts as well. And one of the things that I looked for when we went looking for graphic artists were not your typical 9-to-5 type of a person. This isn't just a job. I wanted somebody that had feeling and had some type of strategic understanding of where we wanted to go. We knew, again, we had to work, we're a small team, and being a small team, we got to trust each other and allow each other to explore different paths going down to building out the brand. And these people that we brought on allowed that to happen.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're saying is that when you hired someone, you were looking for someone who understood the goal of designing to business results versus designing a pretty package.
Correct. The end result is it has to sell. You know, at the end of the day, sales are the lifeblood of the business. And you could have the most amazing package design work in the world, but if it isn't connecting with that consumer, it's meaningless. So we had to explore the boundaries, then bring them in, and then execute on what we felt was going to be a package design that people would respond to. And it's not just a package design for people to respond to, but the whole entire message, social media, the limited amount of advertising we can do in magazines. It needs to resonate with a wide spectrum of people, but in a very limited space of where we're allowed to present that.
We live in a fast-changing digital world. Dynamic communication and social expression influence just about everything we do. Business is digital. Impact is instant. Brands and customers interact in amazing new ways. From postage stamps to packaging and billboards, HP's Graphic Solutions business is leading these transformations, creating innovative digital print technologies that enable more effective, engaging communication between brands and end users.
But I also have to give credit to my partners as well. They also have definitely smart ideas. It's something that when we sat down and decided to go into this field, we said, again, if we're going to do this, we're going to be the best. And everybody has good ideas. Everybody has great ideas even. Let's pick the ones that best suit what we need and take it from there and go and run with it. It's amazing how fast you have to be in order to stay ahead of the rules and regulations, in order to have product on time. I referred to this earlier. It's a challenge, but it's a very fun challenge at the same time, and that's what you do. What you have to do. Again, to me, some of the fun challenges was just the design of the package. It's something I love to do. How to make it work. How do you make coffee and cannabis work, or tea or cocoa work? Getting to speak to our pharmaceutical chemists is fun. It's something outside my world that I never thought I'd be speaking to a chemist before. The attorneys that we have involved, they're all smart, very fun people. I mean, yeah, they're attorneys, but they're really a good bunch. I came at this with, if I'm going to get involved, one of the things, probably the most important part of this whole thing, it has to be fun. I have to enjoy what I'm into, or why am I going to do it? So the very onset, as we put the team together, as we put the product together, as we put the branding together, as we put the whole concept together, was this has to be enjoyable, not just to me, but also to the consumer. And how are we going to do this? How do we outlay that so people can understand that this is something that you're going to enjoy?
So there was a lot of innovation that had to happen with the product development.
There was a ton of innovation that had to happen with the development. So for the first 6 months or years, we came out with this. One of the things we did, or a few of the things we did, was we hired a team of attorneys. We wanted to know our legal standing on entering this industry. Another thing that we did was we hired a team of pharmaceutical chemists to come on board and help us put together a formulation process or a recipe that could work with your coffee, tea, or cocoa and allow the beverage not only to taste great, but also look great and be just what people would expect it to be, which is a coffee or tea or cocoa when they're drinking it.
And speaking of coffee and tea or cocoa, you took some time and effort to make sure that you actually created a brand around this instead of just creating, a product that maybe was innovative but wasn't very recognizable.
Yeah, when we came out with this brand, we really wanted to have the brand resemble something you would see at Whole Foods, for instance, something that looks like quality, looks classy, something that you're going to trust immediately, that you're going to look at the packaging and have a good feeling about. And so when we sat down with our artists and our graphic artists to come together to put the packaging together, we really wanted to stand apart from everything else that was currently out there, and we think we hit a home run with it.
What were some of the challenges of building this brand?
So some of the challenges to build a brand were to come out with packaging that would be legal in all states that can carry cannabis products. One of the challenges was to look at the packaging and say, okay, how do we make this childproof? How do we make it so that it will hold the products on shelf life longer than necessary if need be? And so we looked to Colorado, which is the most heavily regulated state in the cannabis industry, and said, let's look at those rules and regs and follow what they say, and then expand upon that into the other states. And that's how we came to where we are now. So the challenges were having a good product that not only would last, but also, like I said, is childproof, but also is consumer friendly. We wanted the product to be something that the consumer would look at and immediately recognize as something that's safe, consistent, and fun. The product, there are two aspects to medical cannabis. You have a medical and recreational cannabis, and we wanted to try to hit that with our packaging. We wanted to try to portray something that says that it's a friendly product, but it's also a product that can be taken serious as well. That you can find it on Whole Foods shelf, or you can find it in a dispensary. And so we really worked at making the packaging something novel, unique, and that would want you to pick up the package and purchase it.
And you have a challenge, though, when consumers are looking at your product and looking at the package and making a decision on whether or not your brand is the brand for them, because they're not always able to literally pick that package up off the shelf.
Correct. When you go into the dispensary, what happens is all the products are inside a glass case. And so you really need to have something that stands out. There's a lot of products out there, a lot of edibles. And you want them to be able to recognize what it is very quickly. Basically, when you go into a pot shop, if you will, a pot of coffee immediately comes to to your conscious of what it is. You immediately recognize, oh, pot of coffee in a pot shop. I get it. It's a play on words. It stands for cannabis, but it also stands for a pot of coffee. So we put together something that we think really, really stands out when you walk in there and you're able to recognize our logo and our branding of something being special. It's easy to see.
And the package development, when you're thinking about the package development, you not only were thinking about visual identity, you were also thinking about the brand experience when the consumer brings it home?
Yeah, one of the things that we really, really wanted to stress was the wow factor. And we really want the consumer to be wowed every step of the way. That is, from the packaging to when they open the box and the K-Cup is inside a foil pouch, to the K-Cup itself, to actually drinking the product. There's a complete arc to the story. And so we really, really wanted that arc to be something that you remember from the beginning to the middle to the end and be happy with it.
What was the most fun part of building this brand?
So for me, the most fun part was the design of the packaging. I love great packaging. I really, really got involved with our graphic artists to sit down with them and have no boundaries and take something, literally some thoughts outside the box thinking. I love outside the box thinking. And how do we come up with something that the consumer's going to love as much as I'm going to love building and getting behind and marketing and driving that home. And so the design of the box, the design of our packaging to me was a blast. I really, really loved it.
And I'm assuming this isn't the first iteration of the package that you designed.
It's not. We went through so many, I can't even keep count. It was a labor of love on all of our parts, myself and our graphic artists. We were never happy, probably still aren't happy. We're always trying to make it better, just tinkering the most smallest little amount. You know, my dad once said to me, what separates a great artist from just the average artist is that the great artist knows when to take that paintbrush and pull it away from that painting at that very precise moment and stop. And that's kind of like what we developed here. We worked at it and finally said, okay, we have it. Mm-hmm. But again, we always think there might be a little bit more we can tweak once in a while.
Yeah, and have the brand grow and evolve and the visual identity grow. Now, you have a challenge though, because you have to kind of tweak your packaging all the time because regulations are always changing.
Yeah, that's the hard part. So every state with legal cannabis sales has their own rules and regs. And so because of that, we are constantly following new compliance rules, which means we're constantly adding, subtracting, verbiage, copy, symbols. There is no uniformity in this business. You run very, very fast, but you need to be very, very agile in order to keep up with the ever-changing rules and regs. And that is a challenge. That's a huge challenge for us.
And so you rely on a little collaboration with your licensees to make sure that this happens correctly?
Yeah, so what we do is currently we have 3 different licensees in 3 different states, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon. We're here in California. What we do is we're constantly on the phone talking to them, talking to our attorneys, talking to their attorneys, talking to the compliance person in that state. We try to stay ahead of the curve of what's coming down the pike with new rules and regs that need to be on the packaging. And it's definitely a 24/7 job. You really need to be agile, and you really need to think, have an ability of a packaging company that you're working with be able to move just as fast as you can and understand the constraints that are put on this industry and how quickly they need to react with you.
And on the subject of regulations and laws, I'm curious, why Southern California for your headquarters? I mean, you're a new company, you have, other businesses in different parts of the country. Why did you choose Southern California versus, say, Colorado?
I believe personally that the world starts in Los Angeles. I think every cool idea, every cool invention this is the center of the universe. And I believe that you need to start here. And if you can make it here, you're going to go anywhere. But I really believe that this is the epicenter for a business like ours to take off. You have to start here, and then you outgrow it from this place. But this is where you want to begin.
There's some problems with the regulations here because it's mainly medical marijuana in the state of California, correct?
It is. So California, you need to have a med card in order to enter a dispensary. You need to be a resident of the state of California, so that you are inhibited by your growth right now. Come 2016, a vote will be taken to allow recreational cannabis as well. But until then, you are limited. That said, you are able to have products on the shelf that are a little bit more forward-thinking in the dosage amounts than you are in certain states. So it's a give and take here, and you work with what you have. And this is what we have here in this state.
And then you have licensees again in other states. Now you be a lot more familiar with this. I think there's 4 states now where recreational cannabis, not marijuana, is legal.
Well, there's 23 states that have some form of laws in the books for either medical or recreational. But to answer your question, Colorado is the forefront. Washington's coming on board, or Washington is on board. Alaska, Oregon will be on board, and Nevada. But each state offers its own plus and minuses, and so you need to pick and choose which one is going to work for you or for us at that time when we want to enter it. It's a very, very challenging space to work in. There's so many decisions to be made when we open up a licensing agreement. Is it worthwhile for us to go there? Is it worthwhile for the licensee to work with us? It's hopefully changing. I believe that this industry is going to change. I believe that there's enough response from Americans that cannabis is going to be accepted as a recreational or as medicinal. But until it's unified throughout the country, you really need to figure out what states are going to be best for your product in that state, and you're going to be able to sell those products there.
And what does that process look like for you?
So we look for companies that are currently in that state that have probably the largest footprint in products that they're already manufacturing and their distribution. For instance, our Colorado group that we're working with is currently in about 325 locations with products that they're already manufacturing. They wanted something new, novel, and unique that didn't exist in Colorado. They came to us and said this would be a perfect match for us. We have distribution, we have manufacturing, and what do you think? And we said, you are our perfect fit as well. This is what we're looking for. We try to find the best or the leaders in each state that we want to go into and work with them.
And this is very different from the retailer, distributor, buy-in model that you have for your other coffee business. Maybe we could talk a little bit about how that works in your other gourmet coffee business and compare and contrast them a bit.
Yeah, there's really no comparison between. We do have a gourmet coffee line that we do carry in Florida. This is nothing like this. You are so hand-tied with where you can sell this and how you can sell it, how you can advertise. You really, really need to think on your feet. You need to be a strategic thinker, and you need to be able to move so many different ways and so quickly to get your product out there. it actually, as hard as it is in this industry, it's actually what adds the fun to it. Giving you a challenge for me is a big turn on. It's something like, wow, how do we do this? And then you look and you do it, and then you do and then you move into another market, and it's great. I say this to my partners all the time. I'm so lucky that I'm able to do this in this space right now. It's such an it's such an opportunistic place to be, and I enjoy it so much. I enjoy the challenges, and that's what's different than just having our gourmet coffee line, and just walking into a store and selling it. That's pretty simple, really.
It's had to make you more agile as a businessman.
It has. It has made you. It makes my team and myself extremely agile. We need to constantly be thinking forward. We need to be constantly thinking of how do we not only make the product better, but how do we navigate this industry that has limited rules and regs. There's a lot of issues in this industry. There's no banking in this industry. You're dealing with companies that don't necessarily understand it when you try to approach them. It definitely makes you agile in how you go forward in this industry.
And when you talk about your competitors, a lot of your competitors haven't decided to make an investment in branding, package design, visual identity, make this really commitment to design, and you decided to. And it's like, why didn't you decide to go with the crowd? Why did you decide that design was important to your company?
So design to me is extremely important. I wanted to come out to the market with something that's very mainstream, that's very approachable the minute you walk into the store. And if I'm going to get involved with something, I want it to be the best. And just to come out with a product, a cookie or a brownie in a cellophane wrapper with a hand-printed logo on it, was not going to cut it. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we're going to be the best at it. And so that's the approach that we took when we came into the market.
And what struck me about your visual identity is how modern it is.
It is modern. It's very modern. It's very something 2016. Something that stands out in a crowd and speaks to you, hopefully, saying, this is something that I want to try. It's not your parents' Cannabis from 1960 in a cellophane wrapper with a handwritten note on it. It's something new, and it deserved to be in a new type of packaging, something that presented itself that would work in today's market, not in the past.
And you took that thinking and you brought it from the outside current in, and you addressed the package development to address the modern, convenient, on-the-go lifestyle.
Right. We purposely started thinking, okay, if we're going to get into this, how do we do just that? How do we make it modern? And one of the modern things to us is a K-Cup. And the ability to construct a product, a cannabis product with coffee, tea, or cocoa, and place it in a K-Cup, that it's something that you can have any time. One of the things about our product is it's an enjoyable product like alcohol, in the sense that it can be enjoyed in the evening. It can be enjoyed at night. It doesn't have to be just in the morning. The product we thought was something that needed to be spoken to as a spectrum of as the entire day or night, and that's how we got into doing the K-Cups.
And so it's more than just coffee. Even though it's Potto Coffee is the overarching brand, you have other products with tea and cocoa?
Yeah, we do a tea and a cocoa. They come in, here in California, we're allowed to do different dosages. So we do a 10, a 50, and 100 milligram dosages. And we, again, put them in the K-Cup in the pod. The cocoa it's 100% natural cocoa. The teas are 100% natural green tea, and our coffee is an Arabica, 100% Arabica coffee is what we use for the coffee. That's what we do.
And that part of your development came from your experience as a gourmet brand before Paddle Coffee?
Yeah, our coffee manufacturing facility back in Florida, we learned all about Arabica coffees and cocos and teas. And we wanted to bring that forward into this space. We wanted to, if we're gonna have a good cup of coffee, we also want to have a good cup of coffee with cannabis. And that's one of the things that had to happen was that we had to have quality products. We had to have quality coffee or tea or cocoa in our product line.
And that commitment to quality in your product development, that comes out into the way you present yourself to the market.
Yeah, we wanted to have a quality product and a quality package. We wanted a complete circle, and that's what we strived for, and we think we came up with when we introduced the product line.
The commitment to quality comes out in the way that you execute on that design, because your packaging is being executed and being sent from your headquarters in Southern California out to your licensees?
Correct. So what we do is, with our licensees, we supply them with everything but the cannabis oil. That has to be added in the states where it's legal, where we're doing our businesses. But we supply them with with the boxes, with the K-cups, with the K-cup lids, everything, even the special secret sauce, if you will, our formulation process, we can send to them. They then receive that, they take the recipe, if you will, that we give them to add, how to add the secret sauce or the formulation to the coffee, tea, or cocoa, and then they construct that or manufacture it, and then they put it into their wheelhouse of products that they bring to the dispensaries.
And this allows consumers to recognize your brand even if they're, say, traveling in one state where it's legal and maybe on vacation in another.
Right, so if you're in California and you enjoy pot of coffee here, and you're going to, let's say, skiing in Vail, there's no reason why that you should have any different type of taste or different coffee or anything when you go there. So you recognize the box, you recognize that the consistency is going to be there. It's the same product that you buy in California is that you're buying there in Vail.
And that brand experience was really important to you because?
Brand experience is extremely important because we want the consumer to always be happy with it. We want the consumer to look at us as the Starbucks of the coffee industry. And how we go about that is having a quality product, having a box that speaks to you, if you will, in a package design that you want to take home. It's actually something that you might even want to leave on your counter. It's a cool symbol that you have there, and you're kind of going, you know what? This isn't your traditional bag of coffee. This is something that represents me, and this speaks for me. This speaks for the individual I am, and I want to share it with my friends, and I want to just have something to leave out on the shelf and just remind myself, wow, this is a long way from the 60s when cannabis was so in the closet, and now look where it's at.
Yeah, it's something that people can use almost in a prop in their, real life play that is life, and we're always sharing, and we're sharing versus hiding this type of consumption, and we're also sharing everything we do on social media. So this is something that obviously you can bring out and share on Instagram.
Right. Yeah. It really is. It's time that people recognize that cannabis isn't the boogeyman that it's been made out to be, and that it's something that that enough people through enough time have tried and enjoyed, and allow adults to be adults and either use it as a recreational product or a medicinal one, but it's time that it came out of the closet.
I imagine that consumer research is got to be so difficult. How is consumer research different for developing the Paddle Coffee brand than it was for your other gourmet coffee brands?
So you're right, there is basically no research. The research that you have to fall back on that this industry exists are kind of bifocal. One is we know for a fact there is a coffee industry. We know that there's millions and millions of people that drink a cup of coffee every day. We also trusted the fact that a majority of Americans have partaked in cannabis at one point in their life. A big chunk of the population. So putting those two together, we thought we're going to migrate our risk by coming out with a product that is already, both products actually, that is already something that people are willing to try or have tried. And so to your question, no, there's not a lot of data. A lot of it's instinct, and a lot of it was us just saying, you know what, we're going to take the risk, we're going to try it, we believe it's here, and this is the time to get involved.
With that, again, that brand experience of what happens when you open the box.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned earlier, the wow factor is so important. So from the beginning of the box to the foil pouch that the K-cup would come in, for instance, to the actual K-cup itself, to then just tasting the product. So the arc of the story is it's from the beginning, the middle to the end. Wow, this has been something fun. This is something that I enjoy, that I didn't think I was going to enjoy as much as I do. It's like a present, and the present is continually on until the very last sip of the coffee, for instance.
So it's a present for your eyes at shelf. It's a present for your hands and as you open the package at home, and a present for your whole body when you experience
for your palate,
it.
for your whole body. You don't get that a lot in today's world. It's something unique and novel.
Your packaging almost seems to imply that with that type of band. With it looks like almost like a ribbon.
It does. It's funny you said that. There is that novelty look to it, and there is that. It is a present. We really, really thought hard about how to present this box and how to present the packaging, the logo, and there are a bunch of silent, subconscious little not advertising, but moments in here that you may not be aware of, but you actually subconsciously are seeing.
What are those small moments of communication? Can you pick up a package and walk us through?
Sure. So the packaging, from the very beginning, we wanted it grounded. That's why we put a black bottom on this thing. And then as you go up into the packaging, the white, it to me, conveys a purity. The red is something that comes across as, wow, it's bright. It's something that I want to touch, I want to grab. But then when you look at the packaging, it almost looks like a ribbon. It almost has something like a present, like you want to grab it and open it. The flowers, going back to the flowers that are coffee beans, but they're flowers. Subconsciously, again, this is something that hopefully you're thinking, wow, this is a good feeling. I don't know why, but there's a good feeling about this whole box. And I want to take it home. I want to try what's inside there.